Hello and welcome to Backyard Food Guide. What I'd like to do today is to talk about a few great vegetables that you can grow in shade in your garden. So of course, I'm not talking about full shade. Plants do need some sunlight. However, if you have a garden that has partial shade, even just a little bit of time in the morning or in the afternoon, then there are some vegetables that are suitable for growing in those conditions. So I would like to talk about my favorites today. So what you want to do with partial shade is to look mainly for leafy greens, chards. Of course, vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, and squash would require full sun. So almost anything that flowers in order to be a vegetable would require a lot of sun. And even half-day sun, for example, would be like the root vegetables. So potatoes, carrots, beets, and so forth. So really, in terms of partial shade, where you're only getting a few hours of sun, it's mainly the leafy vegetables that are suitable for that. So one of my favorites is the arugula. You can grow this wonderful peppery green in partial sun, and it really doesn't require a lot of care, and it's also a very quick growing green as well. One that I can recommend is the wildfire arugula. It takes about 35 days to grow, and in terms of the seeds, you can just direct sow. And different types of arugula take different times, but this one's really nice. You can just cut the outer leaves and it will continue to grow and produce more for you. The next one that I really like would be beets. And almost any kind will grow well in partial sun. For this one, it's a good idea to direct sow either in the spring or late in the summer for a fall harvest. And most varieties of beets take anywhere from 30 to 60 days. And what's really wonderful about beets is that you can harvest the greens as well. So the greens are sweet and tasty. One of our favorites is the Merlin beet, which is about 55 days to maturity. The next one that we really enjoy that can be grown in partial shade would be the cabbage. And there are a number of different kinds, of course. I did a video on the red cabbage, which is really quite nice. But the one that I would choose if you don't have a lot of time would be the tiara cabbage. The tiara is a nice green cabbage. And compared to most cabbages, which take about 60 to even 130 days, the tiara is a fast growing one. So about 45 days in partial shade and you'll have a lovely green cabbage to eat. The next one that I really enjoy is also kale. Of course, our favorite is the Red Russian variety, and I've done a few videos on Red Russian kale, both in that you can overwinter them, and especially after a frost, the leaves are quite sweet and tasty to eat. So if we overwinter again, what will happen is in the springtime, we'll have lovely leaves when really nothing else is coming out of the garden. So that's a real bonus. And the nice thing about the Red Russian kale, or most kale, is that the flowers and the rob are edible as well. So for the Red Russian, it takes anywhere from 50 to 80 days. So starting from about 45 to 50 days, you can start harvesting the tender outer leaves. The next one that we really enjoy is the Butter Crunch lettuce. And for this one, you definitely don't want to have it in the sun during the summer. It will bolt and the leaves will get bitter very, very quickly. However, in shade, it can do quite well, and it does require some sunlight. So again, that idea of partial shade is important, but really you could start harvesting the baby greens as quickly as 20 days, but full maturity would be about 60 days. The last one I want to introduce for growing in partial shade would be the Swiss chard. So pretty much all varieties of Swiss chard will do really well. If you're quite hot in the summer, it might be good to choose varieties that don't bolt very easily. So for example, this peppermint Swiss chard does well in the heat. And then also perpetual spinach, which is actually a type of Swiss chard, will do really well and have very sweet leaves. Again, similar to most greens, you can harvest the outer leaves and it will continue to grow throughout the season for you. So I hope this was some useful information if you have a shady garden, and I do have videos on some of the vegetables that I've talked about, like the cabbage, the beets, and the perpetual spinach. So I'll provide a direct link to those videos in the description. Thank you very much for watching.